Welcome back. It's exactly 8:51 a.m. We're crossing over to the Fairest Cape, and we'll be talking with Simone Brophy. She is here to talk to us about Mothers for Gaza, and we're going to talk particularly about the silent protest that was staged at Cape Town Holocaust Museum. Very good morning to you, Simone. Welcome to the program. Nice to have you here.
Good morning, Julie. Thank you for having me.
So I thought this was a wonderful initiative, and I'm wanting to understand the timing of this protest action. How did it come about, and would you say it was a success? I believe that the protesters were, of course, uh, well, law enforcement were there, and also one of the ladies had a lucky escape. I think there was a driver who drove very close up to the protest march, and someone could have gotten very badly hurt. But let's start right at the beginning. Perhaps I should start off by asking, who is Simone Brophy?
Simone Brophy is just a mother who's seeing what is happening in the world to other mothers' children and to children. And as mothers, we have an innate ability to, or an innate feeling that we want to protect and we want to nurture. So when we see things happening to other mothers' children, we see it almost as if it's happening to our own. So we're just a group of mothers, daughters, sisters. We have compassion for humanity. We see what's going on. And you asked if we think that yesterday was a success. I think anything that brings attention to this genocide in any way, no matter how big or small, is a success. Because what we're realizing is we can't just sit and scroll on our phones anymore and talk about how terrible it is. We have to take action. And we are mothers that are willing to become comfortable in uncomfortable situations. We're willing to walk into rooms that we're not welcome in, as we did with Emma Powell and her talk. And we are willing to take action. And the beautiful thing about us is we are a group of very diverse women. We come from different backgrounds, different religions, we have different professions, with different ages. But we've all come together to say this is our red line. As mothers and as women, we do not want to raise our children in a world that allows this to happen, that justifies what is happening, and that allows for the continuation of what is happening.
God bless. What you've just highlighted now is the shocking reality of people that don't understand what's going on in Palestine and other trouble spots around the world, where women and girls are being weaponized sexually for these purposes of unrest and wars. And that's absolutely heartbreaking. And yes, mothers, daughters, and sisters should be standing up and having our voices heard. I salute you and your group. How long have you been in operation, and how often do you have these protest marches, or, just silent protests? Because you are right. Even one person standing on a street corner with a very powerful message on a placard can make a huge difference. Maybe the people driving by will not be proactive, but it's going to give them food for thought. It's going to make them question and re-look at their position regarding the genocide, not only in Palestine, but trouble spots all around the world.
Yes, and I think what was important about yesterday, it really highlighted the hypocrisy of what is going on. Because ideally, what we would have liked is to stand by that museum and have some mothers come out there and stand with us in solidarity. But what we found was the opposite. We were not welcome there, even though we were standing silently, peacefully with our mouths taped, with Stop the Genocide. We saw busloads of children being dropped over there, dropped at the Holocaust Center to learn about the atrocities of the Holocaust that happened, but with complete ignorance of the Holocaust that is currently happening. So a few things that happened yesterday, besides the issue that you mentioned, was firstly, we were not welcome. So people need to learn about one genocide, but just ignore another. Secondly, a lady came out of the museum and swore at us, told us to F off. She then said that there are children inside there, almost alluding to the fact that we are traumatizing these children inside there by standing with our mouths taped shut, saying, stop the genocide. So that was a very interesting observation. The other observation that was quite interesting was a very aggressive man who, he looked like if he really wanted to ride us over the way he reversed out of there. We needed to keep a close eye on him and where his car was going, because just recently we had a motorist plow through Palestinian protesters. So that was interesting. But the saddest, most heartbreaking part of that is his child was in the car with him. The boy must have been about 11 years old. And as they drove past us, the boy lifted his middle finger up at all of us. So that's very telling for a few reasons. Firstly, you are raising your child to hate. You are raising your child to put their middle finger up to people who are old enough to be his grandmother, and you are not teaching your child any humanity. So those particular instances stuck out for me yesterday.
You know what also comes to mind as you're speaking, Simone, is I've thought about this long and hard, is the conditioning that is happening in those type of homes. What stories or narratives are being fed to these children for them to hate Palestinians, to hate people who are of a different color to them, to believe the demonization that is conditioned, that they're being conditioned with. And I just think it's absolutely heartbreaking. It is absolutely heartbreaking that these young children will grow up being haters themselves and believing in a false narrative. History has proven over and over again that the Palestinians' land has been stolen from them. Their land is being occupied. They are being brutalized. Genocides happening on an ongoing basis. If this was not a genocide, then hospitals and healthcare professionals would not have been annihilated as they have been up to now.
Correct, Julie. I mean, just this past weekend, we've had Dr. Ala Al Najjar, who worked at the Nasser Hospital. She is a pediatrician over there. Israel killed 9 of her children. These are not nameless children. These are not footnotes in history. This is not yesterday's news. The lives of Yahya, Rakan, Lukman, Razlan, Jubran, Evie, Rivan, Sidra, Sidin, they meant something, and their deaths will mean something. We will not allow the world to forget these children. We will not allow the world to forget these mothers. We will immortalize these names and these children so that the world never forgets. We will not build museums for one genocide and ignore another. The world will not be moving on after this. And I think that's very important for people to understand. We have been called violent. We have been called terrorists. We have been called a mob. We have been given all kinds of names to put us off. But we're not going to make it comfortable for those in power to do what they're doing. And I think that's an important thing for people to understand. This isn't going to go away.
How I'm kind of wondering. I thought that from what I've read, that protest action by Mothers for Gaza was very powerful. The fact that you stood there with your mouths taped up, and I think a lot of the young children's pictures or names were displayed as well. Just correct me if I've got
We
it
didn't
wrong.
display names, but what we had was our mouths were taped for a very specific purpose. And that is 19 months into this genocide, there are no words left to speak. There
Oh,
are no laws left to break. There aren't any norms left to smash. There are no words. Anyone who doesn't realize what's happening 19 months into this does not want to realize. And we're at a point where we don't want to reason with the unreasonable anymore. And we don't want to accept the unacceptable. And that is why we thought it was a strong message to keep our mouths taped closed, because there really are no words for what's happening.
I think that's a powerful statement. Thank you indeed for that. How many people were attending the protest under your banner, Mothers for Gaza?
So we have to be very careful because, we feel that we are being targeted in a way. The amount of police that show up wherever we are is quite excessive. It's interesting to note that, the powers that be in Cape Town say that they don't have enough policing, yet they send out cars and squads for 15 mothers standing on the side of the road with their mouths taped shut. They take photos of us. They've been told to take our number plates. So we're not sure what that angle is or why they're coming after peaceful protesters. But we need to be very careful that we operate within the law, and that's something that we will always do. We will always be peaceful. And the reason that there were 15 of us yesterday is because that's the minimum that is required to protest without having a permit. We wanted to keep it quite quiet. We didn't want to alert anyone to what we're doing. So we decided to keep it very small, but very specific.
Hats off to you once again. I think that was a real smart move. And undoubtedly, those visuals will go around the world. And you make such a relevant point regarding police presence, because we know that 2 weeks ago, Loftus Versfeld at the soccer stadium, you are aware of this, 5 people were arrested, a young teenager as well. And that is a developing story. I think the case is still ongoing.
Yes.
But having said that, and you talk about the heavy police presence at all of these marches, or protests, silent protests, does indicate that there seems to be a lot of support for Zionism in our country, sadly so. And then the question needs to be raised regarding criminality. Criminality in the Western Cape. We hear of young people being killed by stray bullets. We hear about drug addiction and drug trafficking being absolutely rife in the Cape Flats. And we hear about people crying out for police protection and police visibility in those areas, and nothing, absolutely nothing is happening. So, yes, you are right. It seems that there's some very powerful Zionist elements operating in the Western Cape. I'm just not sure where to from here
Well,
regarding people with big hearts like yourself, and for voices and actions, silent actions, to be noticed and to be heard.
yes, well, what was interesting is I've just read an article. At the exact time, there were many police cars and many police around us. There were people being shot in the townships in Philippi yesterday. So I think maybe the powers that be in Cape Town would be better off sending their resources there than to 15 mothers with their mouths taped closed, standing peacefully, asking for an end to the killing. But Zionist fragility is definitely very protected in Cape Town. Let whatever happens in Philippi happen, but please don't let the Zionists feel unsafe at the Holocaust Museum. That's the message that they're sending.
Yep, I think we need to do lots more digging, researching, understanding the psyche of Zionism and the conditioning on their children. And of course, also not forgetting we need to uncover why they're being protected in the Western Cape. And possibly all around the world. And I've talked to people from the Western Cape over and over again. And what I have been told and what I have heard and read and seen is that the Western Cape is truly a tale of two cities, is it not? The uber rich, the Zionists, and the working class and the very poor. And I think that bridge needs to be closed. And perhaps that's one of the things that the Western Cape Zionists fear the most. But Simone, it's been wonderful talking to you. God bless you and your amazing, brave ladies that support the movement Mothers for Gaza. Keep it up and God bless.
Thank you, Gillian. If I can just add as well, we are an open group. Anyone can join us. Come with your ideas, come with your spirit, come with your conscience for humanity, for your love for children, and there is a home for you with us. We will be doing a lot more of this. We will be escalating. We will not stop and we will not be deterred.
So, undoubtedly, I'll be talking with you much more in the coming days. Thank you once again. Keep safe
Thank you,
and
Julie. Bye-bye.
have a great day. It is 7 after 9 o'clock. This hour of news and views is brought to you by African Muslims Agency. And don't forget that in this hour as well, we take a listen and look to the Fired Up series with Hafiz Imran Chunara. He is a personal excellence mentor and CEO of African Muslims Agency. And of course, we are going to take a listen to that clip a little later on. Please stay with us. This is News and Views on Salam Media.